guys. I think this is going live. So, hi. My brain is a little fried, so stay with me. But I wanted to come on and share my day with you. I did something really kind of more than exciting. I had a I don't know how I got this invitation, but the National Museum of African American History and Culture has the Robert Frederick Smith, the Robert Frederick Smith Explore Your Family History Center that they set up at ImpactHub in Baltimore, Maryland. So they've got this center where they are digitizing still images, they are digitizing some, videos. Explore Your Family History Center at ImpactHub. And thank you, Robert Frederick Smith. So I had an appointment this morning, and if anybody knows me, I got up. You guys know I'm in Virginia. I got up and drove to Baltimore this morning on a Monday morning, the first Monday after daylight savings times, to be in Baltimore for a 10 a.m. appointment. So yeah, I work from home, but I did rush hour traffic today to get to Baltimore so that we could digitize some pictures that my dad had. And so my brain is fried. It's been an awesome day. I'm back at home, but I wanted to come on and do this, share this live with you because this was really an awesome experience for me. So they sent me information, and they said, bring pictures and all of that. And the one thing I could think of were some pictures that we found after my dad passed away that were a collection of pictures. It's a collage of his life. So here it is. I called my sister, had her dig it out, and of course we wrapped it up in the paper bag because it was, the plastic bag, because of the rain and all, to make sure we protected it. But this is what I brought up there. And when I can take this off. The challenge with this is, you can see the screen is all cracked and faded and all. But it's a collage that my dad at some point in his life put together of his life. So these are all pictures of him, his friends, his family. You can see like him as a little kid, his sisters, the house they used to live in. So this is really meaningful, right? But all of these pictures are stuck to this background that he created. And so I couldn't get it off. And it was just small enough. It's like a 16 by 20. So it was just within the range that they could work with. And they mounted this, they put this on a flat board, and they took some pictures overhead, and they were able to not only digitize this entire collage, but then they've digitized each individual photograph. So now I can share these not only with my brothers and sisters, my daughter, my family. I can send these to, my cousins, his nieces and nephews, and, his grandsons get to see that they look just like their grandfather. So now we don't just have these pictures stuck in my sister's house, we have them accessible to everyone. So if that wasn't cool enough, this picture here, I wanted to show you guys. This picture here, we've been looking at this picture for years, and as close as you get to it, you really can't make out the face. And we've been trying to figure out who this person was. Easy to conclude that this was my grandfather, but we never knew for sure, and you can't really make out his face to tell who this was. So as I've been doing family history research and, talking to my father's cousins and looking at their pictures and gathering people and telling stories, we found a picture of my great-grandfather. This is not my great-grandfather. So the most amazing thing about today is, you know, they're in this small office. It's about the size of my office, and they have all their digital equipment filled up. But if you can see, this is a picture that I took with my cell phone camera when I looked at the big computer screen that the guy had up. And this is a close-up, high-resolution image of this picture. And from what I've known about my family and what my dad looked like, and now I know what my great-grandfather looked like, it's the first time in my life I've ever seen a picture of my grandfather. And I can see his face clearly. And I know that this is my grandfather because I know what my father looked like, and I know what my great-grandfather looked like. So it blew my mind. It was so cool. So we now have a picture of my great-grandfather, and this image, they did an amazing job cleaning up this image, and I was able to share it. You know, I'm so sleepy. My brain is fried from all of this morning, but we were able to, you know, I was texting my cousins and sending them pictures of our grandfather, and these are pictures that have been sitting. You know, we were concerned, you know, we wrapped them up and all that. We were concerned about the condition that they were in, but now we have enhanced, you know, if you can, I'm not sure how clear that's coming up on the picture, but I, for the first time in my life, my great-grandfather died, my grandfather died while my father was young. So I never knew him. Wow, when did he die? He died in 1952. So I've never seen his face. And from what I knew, we never had pictures of him. And I don't know where my dad had this picture, but after he passed away, we found this collage. And, you know, he had made collages of us. You know, I've got some crazy collages of myself, which I could have brought up to get digitized as well. But we now have pictures of my great-grandfather, and I thought that was so cool. And then this other thing, which was this artifact that I had. I was quite a challenge for them this morning. You know, my father was an engineer. So when he retired, his office mates created this very cool thing for him, you know, and it's a caricature of, you know, GQ special edition, you know, best dressed man in America. I don't do classified. You know, I didn't know I had to use this computer, and clearly he liked to eat Fritos corn chips. But they had this made for him. And on the back, they have all these inscriptions of his co-workers. Of course, you know, what would an engineer be without duct tape? So he's got this duct taped to the frame. But we were able to, you know, take these wires off, and the duct tape is so old. So we were able to peel the duct tape away, separate this from the frame. They not only digitized and enhanced the signatures, so now I have these nice little notes that his coworker said about him, but we also have this digitized, and we reassembled this so that it is, you know, stored the way that he kept it. But I just thought this was the most amazing thing. It was so worth the trip to get up there to do that. And they digitized all those the pictures for us, and then gave me this adorable little jump drive. And I've already uploaded the pictures for to share with my cousins and family and such. But this is a again, it is something that the National Museum of African American History and Culture is doing to help encourage us to not only do the research on who our family members were and are, and learn more about them, but actually preserve the history that we have in pictures and in film, and so that we have these images for generations to come. So I wanted to thank everybody that was a part of that team. I wandered in there. I wasn't sure what I was going to get out of this. Like I said, it took me about 2 hours to get up to Baltimore today, and I can't even tell you how worth it was to go up there. And part of the reason why I am sharing this on Facebook Live, number one, because I wanted to get the words out to the other family that are following me on Facebook, but this is an ongoing event. And what I heard from the team there is they're getting ready to take this digitization show on the road. So they'll be coming to different cities around the country. And you can sign up to get appointments again for like still photos, for a few formats. You know, we have the little slides. You know, they can't do the slides yet. They're trying to figure out how to do that. But if you've got film and you've got pictures, they can help you catalog them in the highest resolution that is available. Like, I see his face. I know what he looks like now, and that's amazing. And the other thing I wanted to mention is they are having a community curation program. Again, Robert Frederick Smith. He is one of the largest donors to the museum, and the Robert Frederick Smith Fund is having a public program this Saturday, November 11th, back in Baltimore at ImpactHub. They're all free, and they're open to the public without registration, and they've got seminars going on all day long, so you can jump on the museum's website, the National Museum of African American History and Culture, or the Blacksonian, what we like to call it. They're having on Saturday at 10 a.m., you know, finding your family in the Freedmen's Bureau records, and they're going to talk about a brief overview of the history of the Freedmen's Bureau, identify the types of the Bureau's records useful for family history and research, and demonstrate how to search those records. At 11:30, they are doing Soul Talk, and you know I love that, Soul Power Coach, right? Soul Talk, Oral History, Family, and Community, an overview of the Oral History program at the National Museum of African American History and Culture, strategies and guidelines for creating your own family community oral history project, and they're going to have interactive exercises to get you started. At 1 o'clock this Saturday, November 11th, there will be personal digital archiving, what I just did this morning. Keep track of all your bits and bytes, and they're going to talk about managing files across multiple computer devices and online platforms, and it's going to be led by the museum's digital media and archival staff, and it's an informational workshop and discussion, and we'll walk attendees through some of the basic best practices of digital file management and organization. So now that I've digitized these files of my family, what am I going to do with them? How am I going to share them? And where can we put them in a place where my grandchildren will be able to see a picture of my grandfather and know this is who he is, this is what we know about this picture, and this is how you can access this file, and create a print if you want. You know, I like to have pictures. I have pictures on my walls at home. You know, get those pictures off your iPhones and start sharing them with your family. And then at 2:30, again, and this is the community curation program of the Robert Frederick Smith Fund, and all of these seminars are free and open to the public at ImpactHub in Baltimore. And this is the community curation platform, our shared digital history. And so that's 2:30 to 4 o'clock. I'm sure this information is on the website, you know, and don't ask me what the website is right now, because like I said, my brain is fried. One of the most amazing things about the work I've been doing and the interest I've taken in figuring out pictures, you know, and it's one of the things that I talked about in that I encourage people to do, and I actually talked about in my book, is encouraging you to get together with the young and old. You know, this last holiday season, I spent time after Thanksgiving with family, going out, you know, driving into the country where, you know, we'd always heard when my grandfather died that he had been buried in the country, and that was the only description and the only information we had. But as we started researching, we found out where the country was. We found out where the church was, and it is a family church in North Carolina where he was born in this county, and we drove out to the county and we found the city, and we found the cemetery where my grandfather and my great-great-grandfather and my great-great-grandmother and my great-great-grandfather and possibly my great-great-grandmother. And it just is, it's like a web. It's just exploding with all of these different directions we're going in, learning this information about our family. So that was Thanksgiving, and then after Christmas I went to Atlanta. Somehow my sister in Atlanta has ended up with everybody's got the family pictures, and sometimes they move around, nobody knows where they are. She had like 6, she told me in the conversation, she had 6 different crates of pictures. So I went down after Christmas, and we just sat at her table and we spread those pictures out, and we went through every single picture, and we were telling stories, and we were reminiscing, and we were like, who is that, and what are we doing? And that is how the oral histories come out. So I just want to encourage you to, you may not have brothers and sisters, you may not have moms and dads and grandmothers and grandfathers who are still around, but maybe you have cousins, maybe you have friends that you grew up with, maybe you have other people that are connected to you. The coolest thing about it is, I'd never seen a picture of my I'd never seen a picture of my great-grandfather until I started asking questions of my father's cousins. And it wasn't like I didn't know anything about my family. Our family reunion includes my great-grandfather, his brothers, and their descendants. So it's a whole bunch of black folk in that room. And so I'm learning about all of the different branches of the tree. So as we are learning about each other, we're also digging deeper, getting into, my grandfather pictured here was born in 1904. His father, the one that I just saw a picture of, who outlived him, and my father's cousin had a picture of him, was born in 1870, and his father was born before emancipation. And so now we know where he's buried. I know my great-great-grandfather's name, which is something I never knew before. I knew his wife's name. I'm learning her mother's name, and it's just all of these different facts and information I'm finding out about my own family. And I'm recording this because I want to encourage you to do the same, because it's not really something you can describe. We talk about the strength of our ancestors. We talk about the strength of our history. We talk about the wealth of Black history and the struggle and what we've overcome. It's a whole different thing to be able to call on the name of those ancestors, to be able to look them in the face and know that this is not just a concept, but this was a person, and I know what their name is, and I know something about them. So again, and it's hard to explain, because every time I get in, I find something else tremendous like this, it's like my brain turns to jelly, and I just need to lay down and take a nap. So I might go lay down and take a nap after this. But I just had to share this because this was the most amazing day. And, how do you put a price tag on someone showing you a picture of a man who died before you were born, you never met, you know very little about, and we're slowly putting the pieces together to learn more about our history, to learn more about who our people are. And if you have not started that process, please start. Start where you are. No matter how much you think you know about your family history, there's more to learn. There's more to ask. There's things about your life that you might want to start thinking about documenting. So I'll close this out, but I just really wanted to encourage everybody to think about these programs that are you know, this one is happening in Baltimore, and I know that Mr. Smith, God bless him, has, you know, he's a huge supporter of the museum and has created this community curation program where it's not just going to the museum, and you guys know I love that museum. It's not just going to the museum and experiencing the history that's on the walls, but it's also a challenge for us to begin turning that inward and looking at our own roots and our own history and our own family, so that, you know, we talk about, you know, 1865, you know, a few years before my great-grandfather was born. You talk about 1965, you know, a few years before I was born, you know, and then you talk about 2065, you know, what will my family know about my family in 2065? And I hope to be able to say that we know everything that is possible, and we've uncovered as much as possible, and that we have preserved the legacy, the culture, the stories. You know, my dad, oh my God, he was such a character. Look at this dude. Look at this dude. He was brilliant. He was, you know, he was a musician, he was a scholar, he was a ladies' man, he was a little bit of everything. But, you know, what was his life like? You know, I want to know more about this picture. This is I don't know where this is. I have a sneaking suspicion I know where it is, but then I know it's somewhere in Chapel Hill. But I bet I have cousins who lived in Chapel Hill who can tell me, you know, whether this was Robertson Street, who can tell me, you know, what happened during December 58. Was this a major snowstorm? Well, why was this picture taken? So yeah, that's it. I think I'm going to go take a nap. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching the live. I see you. Hi, Donna. Hi. Oh, hey, Kenny. Hi, cousin. So I just wanted to share this. It was an amazing day for me. I want to thank the National Museum and whoever did this branding needs a raise. This was so cute. So cute. So I've got all the pictures here, and I can share them with family and friends, and yeah, that it's gonna make the holiday season very special for me and all of that. So I'll talk to you guys soon. I should mention, if you wanted some ideas about how to do this or what to do or why this is important, it's one of the things I talk about in my book, Finding Your Unspeakable Joy. So bye. Thank you.